If you are interested in the I Ching and want to have your own books instead of just using what's available for free on the internet, here's how I would go about it. The first one I would get is the classic. This is the Wilhelm Baines. Wilhelm did this in the 20s or so and then updated it in the 50s. And Young does the introduction to it. So it's very cool. And it is the one that people have used for a lot across the 20th century. And so when the hippies were getting into it, they were generally using the Wilhelm version. And so this is a really solid one. The introduction, there's two introductions. They're both very good. The only thing that's weird about it is that it's split into two sections for each of the hexagrams. I can't really quite tell why, but that's how he did it. But this is the most usable, readable way. And if you want to get to know the I Ching, I would just get a book like this and then do a reading a lot, like every day for every little question in your life. Just get to see where the I Ching takes you, how tricky and fun it can be in answering your questions so directly, and to get a general sense of what's in it. I would go with the Wilhelm Baines. Once you start to have a sense of the I Ching and want to explore further, there are more specialized things like the Taoist I Ching by Cleary, which is a really good one. There's also a Gnostic I Ching. And you can also buy whatever you feel like that seems to appeal to you. This is Carol Anthony's Guide to the I Ching. It's basically a feminist one, and just the reading that I did that I linked to, I didn't really get very inspired by what I read from these other books, but then she said exactly what I needed. And so it's nice to have extra books around. But if you want to get into the scholarly side, this one that I've mentioned before, almost fallen. This is Minford's I Ching. This just came out, I don't know, not that long ago, within a decade or so. This is a masterful translation, and it has a huge introduction in it. And so what I did with this one is I actually just started reading through all of the hexagrams, because he has, not only does it have a pretty modern translation as well, he also has what he calls the Bronze Age oracles, because the I Ching was always updating. It started off as a bunch of oracles on animal bones, basically. And so they've found those Bronze Age oracles, and they're much more short and farmery and war and human sacrifice. But he translates those as well. So you get to see how this evolved from a oracle for the people and the ruling class into a wisdom book for everybody. The last thing I'll say about this one, it's so great, is he says that he thinks that the priests were using cannabis as they were consulting the oracle, which makes me feel very much better about how I consult the oracle. So there's a little bit about how I would start exploring the I Ching. Feel free to ask any questions.